works on paper, and a couple of the, 3 of them are silver point, and maybe we'll have to touch base a little on that. So thank you.
Yeah, so this is all new work, and I really don't start with a theme, but as this work started developing, I did get a basic theme, and it was going to be I was going to do almost all nude or inferred nude with minimal elements for this show. So instead of doing a lot of clothing and interiors, I wanted to really do a lot more with designing each work with movement and shadow. And because I work in black and white, you don't rely on color. I really work on abstract shapes of positive and negative shapes. So I've been on this drawing, which I really like. I just talk about one drawing. I really like this movement, and even though there's a lot of detail inside it, what draws me to it isn't the detail; it's the movement here. And then really, a big part of the compositional idea is the shadow. So in the drawing, I want sometimes my negative shapes to be just as important as my positive shapes. Where in a drawing like this, it's fairly straightforward portrait. I still try to not only get good layers of light and dark, but I try to design the page with movement, repeating shapes, picking up values. So it's really multi-layered. You know, there's an idea. I'm interested in showing this person, but on another side, there's a lot of abstract things going on in my mind, just like little things like this, where there's little things that repeat, like there's the button here, the navel, the little spot here, the fingernails, and it kind of takes you up with these spots through the drawing, playing with shapes in here, shapes of the hair. So drawings, it creates a lot of movement. These are all graphite drawings, and I start drawing in my sketchbook, working on ideas. I find that though, the older I get, the less I rely on my sketchbook, and the more I rely on just thinking. And I found that then I go to the sketchbook, because sometimes when I start making marks, the marks take me away from what's in my head. Sometimes the ideas come from just meeting somebody. So there's times I have an idea, I find a model. Sometimes I find a model and I think, wow, they'd be a great person to draw, and I try to build my idea around the model I have. So where this drawing right here is a self-portrait, and I didn't want to do a self-portrait, but I wanted, because I didn't want to draw me, I wanted to make it kind of interesting, so I really like the Minotaur idea. So often you play with the Minotaur. Kind of that masculinity, hiding masculinity, the mask, nice dynamics. And I first started drawing this drawing, I didn't have this cloth coming out here when I was drawing, but it isn't working. It doesn't have a dynamic feel to it. And it also felt really naked. And not that it's not naked anyway, but it felt naked on the page. And so I put this element in. I liked it because this shape kind of picked up this shape. It gave another dark outlet, moving your eye through. It gave a nice, almost a tension, almost a better vertical than what the legs gave it. So this one kind of an addition as I was working on the drawing. This drawing was a drawing that the idea didn't even come from me in the beginning. I was working on another drawing. She said, oh, I had this really nice pose I liked. So she laid on my model stand, and it wasn't this pose, but as soon as she did it, something near it, I went, I like that. So we really worked on hiking her, and right away I thought, it looks like the Sphinx. And what I liked about it was, not that it was long, and I love long, but I like the way she's almost, you have almost a vertical here, and it goes out to a horizontal. And I do like the long horizontals, I like Chester's long horizontal river painting in there. So this is an idea that came up from almost instantly, from nothing I'd even thought of 15 minutes before that, and one of the most successful drawings in the show. So when I had the idea, I work in my sketchbook, I bring the model in, I draw, I get all the work done, in the studio. Then I transfer the drawing onto the paper so I don't have to make too many decisions when I'm here. And I work over the whole thing, building up to, I use an H, a 3H, an H, an F, a little HB and a B, and sometimes a 2B for some real dense areas. So it's always back and forth. There's multiple layers of value in the drawing. In the 3 silver points, this one and those two, you draw on a hardboard panel. Hardboard is masonite. It has a gessoed surface, and you draw with a piece of silver wire. And the one thing nice about it is I don't have to sharpen the pencil so much. I sharpen the pencils a lot. And I'm a really good pencil sharpener. That's the next best thing I do next to drawing. So I'm really good at the marshmallow sticks at a picnic. They're really pointy. But anyways, it's just this. And so I could take a key out of my pocket on this gesso, on this painted wall, and I could do a drawing on this wall with a key. So it's before there was lead and lead pencils and graphite. Da Vinci, all the early artists, they would draw with metal for their. You see a lot of silver point drawings. I guess also charcoal, but there wasn't lead pencil then. So when you saw fine drawings before graphite, they were done with silver point. So you guys can come close. I feel like you're really far away. I'm giving a lecture. And, so one thing with this you have to be really careful with is that it's more permanent. You can erase, but when you erase with the silver point, it makes a shiny surface. And I do use eraser a lot, but I use an eraser to create effects. So it's not a tool I use to go, oh God, I screwed this one up. You know, it's a tool to use to come in to pull out little areas, pick up some areas, you know, make striations on the skin, come back in and draw them. So I use it as a tool. I use a kneaded eraser, and a lot of times I'll keep it in almost in my mouth. And so when you're drawing and you have a big chunk of eraser that you hold as your security blanket, all you need is a little piece. When it's done, get another piece. You don't need a big chunk in your hand. So, you know, I just start building this up, and at the first strokes you're a little bit nervous because it's something new. But once I get feeling it, boy, it's just got that creamy surface. And somebody asked me last night, you know, doesn't it stick? You know, well, I use such a light hand when I draw that it's just skimming. And when you draw your strokes, if it's not an edge, you're coming in. I say it's like a plane that's landing. It's landing and taking off. It's almost this type of shape. So everything is cross-hatch working, except for, you know, when there's stubble, you know, there are lines, you know, and, you know, the hair. Look, you know, something's so really complicated in this. This wasn't that hard for me. That hair on Allie was hard. In fact, I thought I was getting mental illness while I was drawing it because I was dreaming about it and I couldn't get out of it. And I go, no, it's no good, it's no good, it's not. And I got so involved with that hair that I finally just had to make myself go, it's done. And but I really enjoy the silver point. It's something different because it takes me away from sharpening pencil. It's something that diversifies my skill a little bit. Just like every couple of years I might do a lithograph where I draw on a lithostone. So something it's the same, but it's a little bit different. So if you have any questions about the work, you know, you can ask me. You can go through my sketchbook. Just go through very carefully. Just be careful when you're turning the pages. It's a new sketchbook. There's not a lot in there, but there's enough to look at. And you know, ask me questions about my approach, how I transfer the drawing, anything, you know, using the model. And you know, enjoy the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.